Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to forgive my dad or speak to him after he left my mom for a 21-year-old? Original post. I, 17 male, live with my mom, 46, my brother, 13, and my dad, 50. My relationship with my dad has always been rocky, and he's let me down many times before, but this time feels like the final straw. Last Wednesday, he told us completely out of the blue that he asked my mom for a divorce because he wasn't in love with her anymore and had feelings for his 21-year-old coworker, Rebecca. For context, she just turned 21. We would have literally been in high school at the same time. I was furious. My parents have been together since 2003. Their relationship has had issues, but this was still shocking. What made it even weirder was how impulsive and unlike him it was. He left the house the next day after non-stop fighting, packed his stuff into our car, and went to sleep in a parking lot. The car and the house are both in my mom's name, and he only had $18 in his personal bank account when he left. Then the next morning, he suddenly came back saying he felt like he was in a trance, that the fog had lifted, and that he made a huge mistake. He begged for another chance. My mom thinks he was genuinely delusional and believes it may be tied to his health. He had a severe case of West Nile virus in 2021 that caused lasting neurological issues and personality changes. She's choosing to forgive him and is letting him stay. I don't buy it. I think he only came crawling back because the fantasy he built in his head wasn't actually going to work. My mom is the sole breadwinner and has supported us our entire lives. My dad has a part-time job as a pizza delivery man. However, his money is only used for his stuff, cigs, gas, etc. I think he realized he blew up his entire life for a girl half his age who didn't actually want him, and now he's trying to do damage control. He's been trying to talk to me, apologizing, saying he loves me and wants to fix things, but I'm ignoring him completely. I feel guilty sometimes because I can tell it hurts him, but I honestly don't think I can forgive him. This situation is just the most recent in a long pattern of disappointment and selfishness. My mom respects my decision, but she clearly hopes I'll try to work on my relationship with him again. But I'm not interested. I still live at home for another year before college, so I'm just planning on avoiding him completely. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my dad another chance, even though he might have been mentally unwell when he made that decision? Now for the top comments before reading the update. The 21-year-old probably didn't want him, so he blamed his actions on a trance. Your mom must be really gullible if she believes that story. I'd ignore him too. I don't think my mom is gullible. I think she loves him dearly, has devoted 20 years of her life to him, has 2 kids with him, and wants to believe he's a good man. I don't fault her at all in any way, regardless of if she continues to stay with him or not. Trust is a fragile thing. Once destroyed, it is almost impossible to get back. Your father thinks he can just walk back in and have everything the way it was, and that isn't going to happen anytime soon. Don't kick yourself. You are not to blame for what happened, and you are under no obligation to forgive and forget. That said, I do think your father's bizarre behavior is due to some health issue. He obviously needs to be seen by a doctor. He has stated he is going to see a new therapist and psychiatrist. He already sees multiple doctors often, including a neurologist, as he has a slew of health problems, including lasting effects of West Nile virus. Now for the update 2 months later. Quick refresher. My dad, 50, randomly told my mom, 46, he wanted a divorce because he was in love with his 21-year-old coworker. He left, then came back the next day, saying he was in some kind of fog and wanted forgiveness. My mom decided to take him back, but I said I wasn't interested in repairing things with him. Fast forward to my birthday trip, about 2 weeks after the initial situation. We were going to the beach with me, my mom, my brother, and my best friend. My dad was staying home because we have a lot of animals, and it was easier for him to just stay than to pay for them all to be watched. I was actually really looking forward to it because it felt like the first time I'd get a break from all the chaos with my dad. Then my dad decided to drive 7 hours to our Airbnb as some kind of grand gesture. My mom claims she didn't know he was coming until he called her while already 3 hours into the drive, but I don't really buy that. The plan was apparently for him to stay the night, and she had already paid for an extra spot so he could come with us on the boat tour and dinner. So it's hard for me to believe she had no idea. Here's the kicker. She wasn't even planning on telling me. She literally wanted it to be a surprise that he just walked in the door. The only reason I knew was because she brought it up to my best friend, I'll call her Jane, that morning. Mom says she asked Jane if she should tell me, and Jane told her no. But Jane straight up told me all she was asked was if she thought I'd be upset. And she said yes. Later on, while we were out, Jane told me what was happening anyway, and that my dad was about an hour away. My mom got pissed at her for telling me. When I found out, I was devastated. I had explicitly said I was excited to get away from him on this trip, and instead, it turned into this whole thing. My mom was mad at me for being upset and kept saying things like, "It's still your dad. You'll have to get over it eventually," and "He's trying to show he cares." She even tried to spin it like maybe he was doing it for her, to prove he cared about fixing their marriage by showing up for us. She kept saying, "Well, I feel happy he did it," and I just felt like screaming because this was my birthday, not hers. My mom said he was coming to give me a birthday card, so I was expecting a long, thoughtful written card. He drove 7 hours to hand me a card with 2 sentences in it. "I'm sorry for what I did. I will make it up to you." That's it. After all that, he stayed for maybe a few minutes, then turned right around and drove all the way back home because I was so upset. There also wasn't even enough room in the Airbnb for him to stay, so they didn't think that through. That was mid-July. I've gone back to talking to my dad normally, but only to keep the peace. I don't want to, but if I start ignoring him again, it'll set my mom off, and I don't have the energy for more fights. So I'm just stuck pretending everything's fine when it's not. It's exhausting to constantly have my boundaries pushed aside, and I genuinely don't get how they think that's supposed to make me forgive him. My parents' relationship seems to be better. I am only viewing it from the outside, but they've been going on dates, been more touchy-feely, spending more time together, etc. If they really did fix things permanently, I am happy for them. My mom deserves to be happy. However, I feel that him changing his behavior doesn't erase the things he did in the past. I don't feel like I want a close relationship with him ever, even if he's changed. Am I in the wrong to not move on and forgive, even if he has truly changed? He came back because the 21-year-old said no. That's it. Maybe your mom needs that explained to her. The mother knows already. It's why she's pushing OP to just get over it, because she wants to sweep everything under the rug rather than deal with her own feelings. It's likely why the parents' relationship appears to be improving. Dad is love-bombing mom. She is also likely desperately trying to avoid dealing with the truth, so she is letting this delusional BS continue and trying to keep the farce alive. Why do people think that when a parent and spouse leave a marriage, they don't leave the child? The mom has never considered that the father walked out on this child's family as well, not just the mom. To be with a 21-year-old person who's probably closer to the child's age than to the mother's age. I know we'd like to tell our young children that, no, when mom and dad split up, dad didn't leave you. But the fact is that dad left the family unit, which included the child, so not the a-hole. Yes, she is 4 years older than me and would have been a senior when I was a freshman. So in theory, she could have been my peer. Are you grossed out by that? I would never bring any friends around him. I knew a guy like your dad, and people would say "Okay R. Kelly" to him instead of "Okay Boomer." But I'm not sure if you want to take it that far in your head. Yes, I am extremely grossed out by it. I can't shake the disgust I feel, even though he claims he never actually had feelings for her. To me, even if he was in a fog or whatever, he still viewed someone only 3 to 4 years older than me as not a child. I really just can't shake that no matter how hard I try. Next story. Am I the a-hole for disrespecting my ex-wife's new husband with the crime of getting along with my former in-laws? Ex-wife, 34 female, and I, 36, divorced 4 years ago, after a 2.5-year-long divorce. We split physical and legal custody of our children, 11, 9, and 6. things are not civil. And as you can tell, our divorce process started during her pregnancy with our youngest. I won't go into all the details, but we divorced after a large financial betrayal, on top of years of both of us feeling like there was little respect for the other. The divorce was not civil, and it dragged on for as long as it did, not because of the pregnancy alone, but for financial reasons. My ex was dating her current husband by the end of our divorce, and it was an awkward period. Ex's family and I remain on good terms, which bothers her husband and always did. Because my ex doesn't want to take the kids shopping for my birthday or Father's Day when asked, her parents have, and that bothers him because they don't do the same for him. I do it for my ex because the kids ask. I include Christmas gifts in that because, again, I'm asked. Her husband doesn't like it, but he sure as heck never has. The most recent issue came up when my kids asked to have me for father and kids photos that my ex's family were organizing. They invited me, and I went and took the photos with my kids. Ex's family and I talked for a while, and I left the event early, but it pissed him off that I talked to ex's family at all, and didn't leave as soon as the photos were done. But what really bothered him was that I was invited instead of them having him stand in for the dad photos. The kids didn't get photos with him that day, which may have created more problems. But ultimately, he complains that I disrespected him by getting along with his wife's family, his words, and she's got his back because she thinks it's unfair her family doesn't hate me like she does. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole, you're their dad. If she has issues with you having a relationship with your children's grandparents, aunts and uncles, etc., she can take that up with them. She has more than once, and she gives me grief when they tell her they will not stop being friendly with me. I get even more grief when they remind her I will always be the father of the kids, and the kids should come first. Honestly, if she keeps feeding his insecurities, this will only lead to bad relationships between the kids and him, and for that alone, I'm sorry for your kids. On a different note, thank you for putting any past issues with your ex aside and still putting your kids' needs and wants first. The shopping for holidays, even for gifts for her, does make your household feel safer usually, which is so beneficial for them to have that safe space. It already has. They don't really care for him much, and I believe that is a direct result of the pettiness and animosity they likely feel coming from him toward me, and maybe even ex toward me. But they love their mom, and I try my best to support that love. I'll always do what I can for my kids. Putting aside my issues with my ex has not been easy, but the kids never needed to be put in the middle because we have strong negative feelings for each other. Not the a-hole, you are taking care of your children the best way you know how. And it sounds like your ex's family are doing this as well. Keep being gracious and kind and civil. They can take their disrespect and shove it. You're their dad, always will be. That's what her family told me too. And they want the kids to feel secure in their love while loving me, which I appreciate. Plus, we always got along, and for the sake of the kids, we don't really want that to end. Last story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend after she complained about the $800 necklace I got her? I, 19 male, had been dating my girlfriend, 18 female, for about 8 months. Things had been going pretty well, and her birthday was coming up last week. I wanted to do something special for her, something that would really show how much I cared. So, I started saving up months in advance. Between classes and my part-time job, I picked up extra shifts, sometimes working late into the night just so I could put aside money. After 2 months, I finally had enough to get her something nice. I decided on jewelry, a gold necklace with her birthstone. It wasn't a random choice either. I spent weeks going from one jewelry store to another, comparing designs and prices, wanting to get something meaningful. I even asked her best friend for advice, thinking she'd steer me in the right direction. She told me a necklace would be perfect. The one I finally picked out cost $800, basically everything I had in savings at the time. But to me it was worth it. I was excited to see her face when she opened the box. When the day came, I wrapped it carefully and gave it to her, feeling nervous but happy. She opened the box, and instead of the smile I was expecting, her expression dropped. She looked at the necklace and said in the flattest voice, "Oh, it's jewelry." My heart sank instantly. Then she added, "I thought you knew I don't really wear gold. I'm more of a silver person." I was crushed. I had poured so much effort into this, thinking it would mean the world to her. Instead, she dismissed it in seconds. Trying to brush off my disappointment, I waited for her to at least say something nice, but then she followed it up with, "Couldn't you have gotten me something more practical, like maybe helped with my textbooks or something?" That's when I snapped. I told her that if she couldn't appreciate the thought, effort, and sacrifice I had put into her gift, then maybe we weren't right for each other. She started crying, saying I was overreacting and that she was just being honest about her preferences. Since then, things have blown up. Her friends have been spamming my phone, calling me a massive a-hole. They're saying she was just communicating her preferences, and that after 8 months, I should have known what she liked. My own friends, the guys I work with and hang out with, say she's ungrateful and that I dodged a bullet. Now I'm torn. Part of me wonders if I did overreact. Maybe I should have just shrugged it off and accepted her honesty. But another part of me feels like after all the effort I put in, the least she could have done was say thank you, even if it wasn't her style. A little appreciation would have gone a long way. So now I'm stuck asking myself, am I really the a-hole here? This is why you ask people what they want for their birthday. At 18, I got an expensive set of pearl earrings. They looked like something my great-grandmother would wear. He looked at me so proudly, but I absolutely hated them. I too was in college and could have used something more practical, like gas money, since I lived an hour away from school. Just because something is expensive, are we automatically supposed to like it? If I detest monkeys and someone got me a diamond-encrusted monkey, am I supposed to be grateful? This is a learning experience for UOP. Learn what your partner actually likes and then get her something close to it. You can also ask, "Hey, your birthday is coming up. Is there anything you specifically want?" If she tells you, get her that. This too. Never assume what someone wants. You base a surprise on things you gauge her by asking little questions and showing interest in her. Like the fact you were getting her jewelry. You should have known her preference first. Jewelry is a huge thing to get someone and to just guess. I know OP said he went through her bestie, but as we see, it is wiser if he would have just talked to his girlfriend. You're the a-hole because she was telling you she ain't a gold digger. She doesn't want useless jewelry, and she was trying to be honest. You freaked out because you were hurt she didn't like it and embarrassed about how much time and effort you put in for a flop. She wasn't being ungrateful. She was saying that extreme amount of money could have been used in a way to actually be used, not just worn sometimes on the neck.